Hi, and welcome back to the second part of working with significant figures and digit numbers and digits in chemistry. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about what you do when you add or subtract values in chemistry. So when you add or subtract values in chemistry, it's the number of decimal places that predicts how you round your answer. And in this case, we're going to round to the fewest number of decimal places. To quickly review rounding, if you have a number with 0 all the way to 4, you don't round, or the number stays the same. If you have a number from 5 to 9, round up. So you round up. All right, so let's do some math here. Oh, wait, I already did it for you. So I have 1.457, which again, we're looking at decimal points here. So this number, the 1.457, the 4, the 5, and the 7 are the decimal points. So this number has 3 decimal points or places, okay? Decimal places. Whereas 83.2 has 2 decimal points or places, or one decimal point or decimal place. So it says 1 decimal place or decimal point. But the calculator gives you 84.657, and we have to round this to have the fewest number of decimal points. So this tells me that my answer needs to have needs to have 1 decimal place. And so the way that I do that is I usually go out to the first decimal place and I just draw this line down to really give me a good visual of what I'm looking at here. Now, it looks like I could just write 84.6, but now we need to assess rounding. So this 5 right here is in the 5 to 9 zone, so that will round that 6 up. So my final answer here is going to be 84.7 grams. So over in this example over here, we're going to look at our number of decimal places. So there's the 0, the 3, the 6, the 7. So this one has 4 decimal places. And the 0, the 4, the 3, the 2, 2, that one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decimal places. So that tells me that my answer needs to have 4 decimal places. So my answer needs to have 4 decimal places. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to draw that line straight down to help me figure out what I need to chop off. Now again, I would probably just start by writing 0.0323, but this 7 will round the 3 up here. So my good final answer is going to be 0.0324 milliliters. Now, that's pretty simple to work with because it's just number of decimal places. The other thing that we're going to work with here is when we multiply or divide. And when we multiply or divide with significant figures, what dictates what you report in your answer is the number of significant figures that the value has in the problem. And we're really focusing on the fewest number of significant figures. So if I look at the first one here, I'm going to start by it's got a decimal, so I'm going to draw a line coming in. And this has 1, 2, 3. So this 4.36 has 3 sig figs. There's a decimal, so I'm going to draw a line straight through to that first non-zero digit. So this one has 2 sig figs. And so that means my answer needs to be reported with 2 sig figs. So I'm going to draw an arrow until I come to that first non-zero digit like this. And I'm going to count 1, 2, and then I'm going to draw a line to help me figure out what I can chop off and round. Now this 6 back here is bigger than 5, so it's going to help me round this 6 up. So my final answer here is going to be 0.00057 meters squared. And in my next problem, I have 12.300, which if I draw that arrow, because there's a decimal, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 sig figs on top. And I've got 5 sig figs on top and another decimal on the bottom. So I'm going to draw coming in this way here, and it's 1, 2, 3. So I have, let's see, it's like 3 sig figs on the bottom. So that tells me that my answer needs to be reported to have 3 sig figs. So because there's a decimal in my answer, I'm going to come over here. Oh, and I should probably grab this guy and just pull this up real quick so you can see. It's a pretty long number, and nobody really wants to deal with that pretty long number. So I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to come back through here, and I'm going to draw. We don't need to have any office updates right this second. So I'm going to take that 534. That's my 1, 2, 3 sig figs. So I'm going to draw this down, and that's 7. We'll round that 4 up. So my final answer here is going to be 535. So 535, and the unit would be grams per milliliter. All right, so that's how we multiply, divide, add, or subtract in chemistry. So here we have some practice for you to do, and just see how it goes, and then we'll check in with our answer. So just like we did with identifying significant figures, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you go ahead and do the problem, and then I will pause. You should pause the video while you do the problems, and then come back and check your answer. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint here. I think it's helpful to write down the calculator answer. Oh man, if I could spell, that'd be great. It's C-A-L, calculator answer. And then that can help you round better when you're getting your final, your sig fig answer. Oh boy. Sig fig answer. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to ask that you take a few moments and pause this and try to do these and get the right answer with appropriate number of significant figures, and then come back and check your answers with me. So we'll pause for now. So just a quick check. These are the calculator answers that I came up with. So make sure that your calculators match that, and then continue on with your sig fig rounding. Okay, so I went through and identified the number of decimal points for the adding and subtracting, and predicted that I needed to have 0 decimal points for the first one. So I got 279 with rounding milliliters. 1 decimal point for the second one, so I got 14.1 grams. Then I went through and identified sig figs for the last two, and I got 207 centimeters squared and 3 meters per second. So that wraps up what you need to know about doing math with significant figures. So at this point, you would probably be assigned homework, except in class we did not actually get to the homework part, which we'll start the homework part in class the next time I see you. So again, if you have any questions,